Just your average everyday trucker, keeping it real. I'm your host, Chris Blodgett, and you're listening to Real Talk Tuesday.
This week's topic is going to be fake news. This is episode 129. Hey guys, welcome back. As always, appreciate you being here. The inspiration for this week's topic kind of comes from, I guess it would come from multiple things, but I know something that happened recently. My mother-in-law, love you, Betsy. Highly doubt she tunes into my podcast, but hey, if she does, who knows? But she, a little while back, had added me and my wife onto a group chat, just three of us. And I guess I got off Sunday morning, went to sleep, got the usual, because usually when I get home really late Sunday morning, when I'm technically off that day for Sunday, Monday, I'll go to sleep, probably only get like 5 hours of sleep, because depending on how early or how late, I get home, I don't want to spend my first whole day off, basically sleeping. So I try to catch a little bit of sleep, try to get like 5 hours at least, and then get up and kind of try to enjoy the night, kind of. So, and to kind of, recently, because last week I worked Tuesday, and then I guess FedEx canceled a lot of loads because I literally did not work Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Well, Wednesday was fun because basically my boss messaged me and said, be at Nashville at 10:30. Lebanon's going to send you east. I was like, so like Knoxville, Kodak? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. I showed up to Nashville and didn't have a load assigned, and I called Lebanon, and they're like, yeah, we don't know what Jimmy's talking about because we don't have anything for you. I'm like, huh, okay. So I called Nashville, and they said the same thing. Yeah, we don't know what Jimmy's talking about. Like, there's nothing in here for you. So, but if we need you, we'll call you. I'm like, well, if you guys don't need me now, I'm going home. So I went home, and I messaged my boss, kind of let him know, and he's like, well, they're full of crap because, like, I was told basically they're sending the east. I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you, man. They told me they didn't have anything for me, so I said basically I'm going home. Like, you don't need me now. If you call me later on tonight, I'm probably not going to answer because it's like I'm here now, I'm available now. So if you call me at 2 a.m, probably not going to get me because like if they call me and I'm on my way home, or if they call me and I just got home and I'm still available technically, then maybe I might turn around and come back in and run something. But if I get home at like 10:30, 11 o'clock, and they call me at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, nope, not doing it. It's happened before where basically like I called FedEx at 10. They said, yeah, we don't have anything. We're really slow. Okay. So, still had a few of my drinks in the fridge. Figured, screw it, hung out, watching Netflix, enjoying my drinks, and got a call attempt from FedEx at like 3 in the morning. And it was like, nope, not answered. I say, you guys had your chance to, but according to my boss, FedEx expects us to be available 7 days a week. I'm like, well, yeah, but they're not paying us for it. So like, I'll be as available as possible, but unless you're paying me standby, then I'm not going to be available the entire night. I'll be available when I'm supposed to be available, and then if you don't need me, then I guess you guys should have luck. So after Thursday I didn't hear anything. Thursday night I went online and I thought, you know what? I've been hesitant about doing side gig work, like Lyft, Uber, or whatever. Well, I couldn't anyway for like Lyft and Uber for a while because while I was paying off my truck, technically part of the fine print on my contract with, on my finance agreement was basically you cannot sign your vehicle up for rideshare because it would basically void your contract. They would be able to repossess your vehicle, so I didn't do it. I realized recently that because I thought that meant like all the other apps like DoorDash, Instacart, whatever, but I guess it probably only meant like rideshare, like giving people rides. Because Thursday night I thought, you know what, like I was stressing out the last couple days, looking at the money, looking at the bills, looking at whatever, and going, fuck. So I logged onto the DoorDash app, and or DoorDash's website or whatever, and basically applied as a DoorDash driver or whatever. Thought it was going to be like one of those where it takes a week or whatever, because my buddy Dave, hey Goldberg, if you tune into this, hey, hope you're doing well. Because I could have sworn his significant other, I thought he had said that his significant other had applied with DoorDash or whatever and still hadn't heard anything back, but like, so I thought it was going to take a while. Maybe it was with Instacart that he mentioned, but I thought it was DoorDash, but I don't know. Feel free to correct me, man, if you listen to this and I got it wrong. Feel free to let me know. But so I went on there and I applied. You put all your information in. They got to do a little bit of a background check, and of course I selected the option to like email me the background check results or whatever. Thought it would take a little bit. Thought it would take like a week or whatever. Whatever. Thought I'd just go ahead and apply, start the process. And of course, like literally within like half an hour, I got a congratulations, you're approved. Your background check came back. You're cleared. You're good. You're approved. Huh. All right. So I didn't do anything that night. I was able to log on to the app on Thursday night after I got approved and saw all the different zones that were like, hey, it's really busy in this zone, it's a little bit busier in this zone's pretty dead. Where I was, it was bright red. So I was like, technically I could go out tonight and do it, but I didn't at that point. On Friday, I didn't hear anything from my boss for a little bit that day either, so I went out probably by like 6 o'clock, 6:30, 6:45, and went active on the app. Literally just, I logged, basically before I logged in and hit, dash, I had my socks, I kind of joked with the wife, said, I wonder if people will find it weird if they get their food delivered by somebody wearing flip-flops, because basically I figure like when I'm off, when I'm not working my trucking job, I'm usually in flip-flops, but I thought, I'll try to look as professional as possible. So I had socks and shoes on. So I had my reflective hoodie on, had socks and shoes on, went ahead and logged in on the app, ready to go, and was like not even a couple minutes, and bloop, you have an order request for Chipotle. I'm like, huh, okay. So I was like, well, I'll see you later, love. You know, she's all right, be safe. The funny thing was, they have an option for you to set up for somebody to get notified of your location, like an emergency contact kind of. So I set Erin up. So basically, whenever I DoorDash, she gets a little bit of alert, like, so, like, Christopher wants to share his location with you. He's DoorDashing. I was like, hey, better safe than sorry, even though I've got, you know, we're on the Live 360 app as well, so she could track me anyway. So, but, you know, my last experience with delivering food was back in like 2016 when I was doing Lyft. I signed on with Postmates briefly. The way it worked back then was you get an order, you go to the place where you're going to pick up the order. They had a credit card, like a Postmates credit card that you had to take in with you. And you would use that to pay for the food. And then you obviously run the order and deliver it. I did an order that took me like 45 minutes because it was like, took me a little bit to get to where the apartment complex. And then it was one of those where you have to go inside to find the unit. It wasn't one of those you could find the unit and walk up to the door outside. It was just like you had to go inside, go up an elevator. Took me 45 minutes to an hour to deliver this food, and I made like $4 or $5 on this order. I was like, yeah, screw that. That sucks. You know, like I could, like if I were to have picked somebody up with Lyft and taken them somewhere that would have taken me an hour to drive, it would have been like 40 or $50. And I was like, yeah, no, it's not worth that, you know. So I didn't do it anymore. But my first day of doing some DoorDash stuff, I noticed, like, because I started like 6:45. First order I did, picked it up, took it about 15, I think I put 15 or 16 miles up to North Nashville. Delivered it, $18.50. Oh, cool. Huh. That was not hard for $18 I just made. All right, cool. So I went on to the next one, had to make my way back to the zone, and got another order. Took it up north again, $19.50. All right. Did a couple more orders, and like probably like 2 or 3 more orders. I think by the time I stopped at like 10 o'clock, it was like literally about 3 hours and 20 minutes. I was at like $70. I was like, huh, okay, that's a lot better than when I did Postmates, because like this I could kind of, I mean, yeah, would I like to make more? Sure, of course, but it wasn't like working for an hour making $5. So at that point, because I really hadn't eaten much, really, like my water bottle had kind of like shifted and went off over there to the passenger side, so I couldn't reach it. So I hadn't really drank any water for probably at least 1.5 hours, 2 hours of my 3 hours I was out there. So about 10 o'clock, 10:30, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go home and take a break. I'm going to hang out with the fam for a little bit. Maybe I'll come out between midnight and 4, because from what I read, that's kind of a peak time too. So, but one great thing about DoorDash, if you're looking for any kind of gig type work, is when you're signing up, you have the option. And honestly, like, I've never done like Uber Eats, but, or, you know, as a driver, like I've ordered Uber Eats, but I've never delivered. And I have a friend, shout out to Sabrina, I have a friend that does it, and she like, I don't know if she still does it, because I know she used to do it as her main job, and some nights she'd be like, yeah, I'll only make like $50 tonight, whatever. Even at night, like between like 6 and midnight, or midnight to 4 a.m, she'd be like, yeah, I only made like $50. Whereas like I did like 3 hours and I made like $70, and it was still only 10 o'clock. And then I thought, I'm gonna go ahead. So one of the things that they do, which I kind of got sidetracked here, but one of the things that they, when you're signing up, is you get to choose, I guess, do you want to have direct deposit once a week, or do you want to get their, I guess they have a red card, like it's like a debit card, but it's through a DoorDash. They call it the red card, and you could basically get that, and your earnings will get deposited. They'll basically end up in your account like pretty much immediately after every order. I'm like, I like that. You go do an order, basically you have money on your card. Like, that's cool, you know. So I opted for that one because I thought, you know what? I want to be able to have my earnings available immediately versus like get paid once a week. You know, especially with the idea that you gotta you know, get gas on occasion. You know, I thought, well, if I'm getting paid immediately after every trip, then that means I can, you know, whatever I need to, I can utilize the funds on my card to either get some gas or get some food, which is kind of what I did Friday night. You know, when it was like 10:15ish, 10:30, I went ahead and I thought that'd be funny as hell. Utilize my earnings to go home and order DoorDash to have food delivered. But I thought, I'll save some money. I'll go over to Buffalo Wild Wings, and I parked out front. Messaged my wife, messaged my oldest, basically was like, hey, what kind of wings do you guys want? My wife was kind of confused at first. She's like, because of course, you know, as far as she knew we were broke, she's like, well, my usual like 10 wings and, you know, like honey, like garlic parm. I'm like, okay. She's like, how can we afford it? I'm like, well, I have immediate access to my DoorDash earnings, and I made $70 the last 3 hours. So she was, oh, cool. I'm like, yep. So I'm going ahead and ordering food. I'm seeing if I can use my digital card, since my regular debit card for DoorDash is being delivered, along with the welcome kit, which you do like your first order within your first 5 days or something, or first 7 days, and you get like your welcome kit, which has like one of those hot bags that you can bring like, or transport like a pizza box in to keep it hot. So, and that was one thing too that I, you know, one of my orders I did was a Papa John's order. That was probably my second order actually. I did the Chipotle order, my first one, and then I went to Papa John's my second one, and it was me and 6 other drivers were standing in there waiting for our orders. They were all holding their red you know, hot bag, whatever, for their pizza, and I was just standing there with my phone ready to pick up the order. And the funny thing about that order was it still had to go up north again too. It was like 13-mile trip, and I was like, I hope I can get it there quick enough that it doesn't get cool too much. So I put it in the back seat, cranked up the heat, even though it was actually kind of cool out, or it was kind of warm outside, so I had the AC going. So I cranked up the heat in the Ram to have it. It was like nice and hot inside my truck, and I got that pizza box delivered, and then immediately cranked on the AC to cool myself down because I was like, woo, it's hot in here. But I just got the email tonight, basically, congratulations, your DoorDash welcome kit is on the way. Your debit card and your hot food bag, and I don't know what's all in it, what's all in the welcome kit, but I'm like, cool. I got my, you know, so I set up the reminder alerts because it's coming with USPS. So I enter my phone number so I get texted the updates or whatever. I'm like, it's pretty sweet, you know. But Sunday I kind of, you know, when I got off that morning, I thought, do I want to, because I didn't go out Saturday at all because I was going to, you know, figure do a little bit here, a little bit there, but my wife was upstairs laying down because she was in a lot of pain, and we had a friend that lately has been coming over every Saturday to hang out and do his laundry, which is we're like, that's cool, you know, it's fine, you know. So I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna stay here and hang out with him. So Sunday, when I was getting ready to get back after my last leg of the loads I was doing, I was thinking about, like, do I want to go out for a couple hours after I get off, and just that way, you know, Sunday night I could literally just wake up, go across the street to get my my drinks, and just hang out and relax for Sunday night, or do I want to go home and sleep and get up and go out like mid to late afternoon for a couple hours. But I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go out right away when I get off. Of course, I was like dragging ass at that point, so it was like I literally had to go down the street. I found a couple of these bottled unsweet teas that had non-sugar sweeteners in them, so it was actually sweet tea that was 0 sugar. I'm like, oh, cool, you know, which is great for a diabetic. So grabbed 2 of those, grabbed a bag of chips. That gave me a little bit of a boost. Went out and did probably, I don't know, 4 or 5. It was probably 4 orders. I think I made like $22 in like 2 hours. So I was like, okay. It was like, it was a little bit slower. It didn't make quite as much as I did when I was doing the nights or whatever. So but anyway, it's funny doing this recording back here and stuff. Everyone else is upstairs except got the grand kiddo, you know, in the other room asleep. It's kind of why I paused for a second. So hearing noises back there, I'm like, yeah, but we also got 3 cats, so they kind of make a lot of noise too. Like, I'm just hearing thump, thump. I'm like, either he's awake making noises or there's a cat back there. But hey, oh well, it's all good. So anyway, back to tonight's topic. So yeah, went out and I did like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Yeah, I think when I finally got that first order, it was like 11 o'clock in the morning. And when I stopped, it was like 1 something, probably like 1. Yeah, it was like 1:30 because I picked up. I did the last order, was at 1:15, and I messaged my daughter. I was like, "Are you still at work? Do you need a ride? Because I'm still out here. I can pick you up." She goes, "Yeah, it'd be great." I'm like, all right, cool. I'm running one last order for Hattie B's hot chicken, and I'll let you know when I'm on my way. So I ended up picking her up probably by like 1:30. Got home by 2. Got home and heated up some chicken nuggets for all of us. The wife showed up. She got back home from work, and I think I probably laid down close to 3 o'clock. So I set my alarm for like 8:15 because it was like figured 5 hours. Got up at 8:15, 8:30. I think I went across the street by like 9 because they close at 10. I got my drinks, came home. Funny thing was, when I got up though, you know, of course, first thing I do when I wake up is I have to go through like my phone and all the notifications you got. So you have to clear like, you know, a few dozen notifications. You have these messages on Messenger. You have these text messages. You have these Facebook alerts. I'm like, you have these red note alerts, which, you know, I do get some TikTok alerts, but I'll admit, like, I'm more active. Like, my wife's pretty active on TikTok, but I'm a little bit more on Red Note, mainly because I know that I think TikTok might be, maybe the owners of that are probably going to cater more to Donald Trump, you know, because of him having the power to let them stay active or not. So Red Note, you know, they really can't do much about, since it's a foreign app, so it's like, But so one of the notifications I had to clear off or that I received was had a text message, and I knew that I had a group message from me or from my mother-in-law in the chat where we had me, my wife, and my mother-in-law. But I saw a group message from her, and I saw other replies in that group message from numbers I didn't recognize. And it took me a minute because, of course, 5 hours of sleep, dragged myself out of bed. And I was like, my mother-in-law was basically just sharing news posts that she'd seen and stuff about Elon Musk basically being given access to like a lot of the treasury stuff and him having access to people's funds and blah blah blah. And my mother-in-law was basically talking about we need to I'd recommend you guys change your bank accounts and stuff like that because he has control of that, he could take your money or whatever. And I'm like, well, I don't have, for my direct deposit for my work, I don't use the regular one of the mainstream banks anyway. Like, we have a Bank of America account that me and my wife are a joint account on, but her direct deposit is Cash App, and mine, I use Sophie. But for DoorDash, I'm actually using their red card, so I'm not using any of the main banks anyway. And so I kind of feel somewhat safe there. I do worry a little bit about the VA stuff because if VA benefits get shut off or whatever by Trump and his people up there, then I might be screwed a little bit. But hey, I'm gonna try not to worry about that too much. But to the topic at hand with fake news in that that group chat, I had noticed that it took me a minute, but I eventually kind of grasped that it was my wife's sister and my brother-in-law. So my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law, that are up there in Kansas City with my mother-in-law, and so they were the two numbers I didn't recognize. And of course, in that chat, after my mother-in-law posted what she posted about this is what's going on, Elon Musk is doing such and such, this puts such and such at risk, whatever, and of course one of the numbers I didn't recognize was fake news. And I realized who that was because, of course, my mother-in-law, Kyle, are you serious? Are you joking? Please tell me you're joking. And the other number, which I very quickly realized was my sister-in-law. Yeah, he's joking. This is just how he is. And they're we just need boundaries because we're not really, we're not focusing on that right now. You can care, but just don't share or whatever. And I'm I hear you. And I told my wife, I said, I'm kind of with Kyle a little bit about that because we got so much stuff we're stressing out about as it is. I was yeah, I want to know the updates. I want to know what's going on. I was but right now we really can't do shit about it. Yeah, you can message your senator. So much happening. It's I'm thinking man, it's going to be a very long 4 years. That is if it's only 4 years, because I don't want the senator from there's somebody from Tennessee, I think, I don't know, maybe it was North Carolina. There was a senator, I believe, that submitted a proposal or something to change the Constitution to allow Trump to serve a third term. And I'm oh great. So but getting rid of a lot of government personnel, literally getting rid of some government departments, giving Elon Musk control over financials, whatever. Part of what I don't understand is it would make more sense to me if you had somebody that was a middle class person, somebody that wasn't necessarily broke, wasn't necessarily poor or impoverished or whatever, but somebody like that in control of a budget, all right, cool, we're gonna have this person that's successful middle class. They're not struggling for money. They're not, but they're not rich, but they're, they're doing okay for themselves. Have them in charge of all right, they're gonna try to, work on making things, or like making, or like trim the fat a little bit, make sure that the not overspending, whatever. But having somebody that's like the richest man in the world be in charge of trimming the fat and stuff like that, it's like, all right, okay, but he's not hurting. Like, if somebody that has unlimited financial resources can then turn around and tell other people, hey, we're not really gonna like help you with such and such anymore, you know, because that's not necessary government spending that we should do, we're gonna cut that. Is it fair? You know? So and also, it's like, I know there is fake news out there, but it's like, I kind of got, it was kind of the, I got the impression by reading what my brother-in-law posted was like, yeah, we could kind of bury our heads in the sand and not think about it. You know, I just don't want to focus on that, which I understand, because, like, you know, like I said, we all have extreme life stresses that we're worried, that are just like weighing us down, that are just like stressing us out. But not focusing on it doesn't mean that it's not present. Not thinking about it doesn't mean that it's not there. Doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So it's like I told my wife, so I was like, yeah, you know, I don't want to hear about it all the time, because like one of the funny things about my mother-in-law sending us all these posts in our group chat, my wife was mentioning a bunch of stuff about a week or so back, and my mother-in-law literally said, you're spiraling, you need to take a breath, you need to calm down. And yet I kind of mentioned that to my wife after the group chat, where, you know, my brother-in-law was saying what he said. My mother-in-law was like, all right, well, I just won't, you know, I care and I want you guys to know, but I just won't share it with you all the time. He's like, yeah, I care, but don't share. Like, we don't need to know all this. I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't mean it's not a problem. That doesn't mean that it's not going on. But I told my wife, I said, it's funny because she said that you were spiraling, but it feels like she's spiraling because she's watching all this different news stuff. And yeah, like, bad stuff's happening with our country right now. Bad stuff's happening in the government. People are getting forced out, being told basically like, hey, if you resign, you'll get like 8 months of pay, whatever. But if you don't, then you're basically just gonna get fired. So I told the wife, like, yeah, she's spiraling because she's sending us all this stuff. She was, yeah, it's true, she kind of is, but, you know, and I'm like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think everything she's sending us is important information, but it's just like, you know, all we can do right now is be outspoken online on TikTok, on Reddit, Facebook, whatever. But, you know, send stuff to our senators, and, you know, I said basically it's like the only problem is like we gotta have government officials that actually stand up to the current administration, that actually fight for the people and don't just, oh yeah, we'll just get rid of that, we'll just do this, we'll just do that. But there's like, you know, a lot of people, especially like a lot of the, you know, when I see a lot of posts online, especially on Facebook, I see people that'll post stuff that is legit. It's true stuff about what's going on with the Trump administration. Oh, this is going on. These rights will be taken away. This has been shut down. You know, this is in jeopardy. And of course, MAGA peeps will basically come in there and be like, that's fake news. This is all the Democrats are just crying because they lost. It's like, are you even paying attention to what's going on? Because it's like, I don't comment. I basically just come in there. I see what's kind of what's being talked about, and I kind of laugh because there's people that voted for Trump because, well, my wallet was fatter under Trump. Okay, well, if you know how the government works, how the presidency works, then you know that, or you should know that usually takes at least 2 years, at least 2 or 3 years, for laws to actually become effective. So like stuff that they gave Trump credit for, like, oh, things are great during Trump, those are put in place by Obama. And things that they're harping on Biden about were put in place by Trump. But with the current administration, people voted for Trump because all things are going to get so much better. He's going to fix America, whatever. All the BS stuff that you hear. Things that they complained about with the Biden administration were put in place by Trump. And so, but one of the funny thing, some of the funny stuff that, just thinking about it with the new, the new Trump administration is the fact that he's changing so much now that I told my wife, I said, I honestly like all the changes that he's trying to make, all the things he's trying to dismantle, destroy, whatever. I said, I really hope, and with the tariffs and the war with Canada and Mexico, well, not war, but the, conflict, with the tariffs and the stuff like that. The fact that Canada, I saw one person comment on something about like, well, Canada doesn't have too much bargaining power because blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they do, because we get a lot of like lumber from them. We get we get a lot of like electricity, I don't know if it's from them. I don't know how that works, but they could literally like cut off whatever. And basically like a lot of states in the U.S. would actually lose power. And we have a lot of other supplies that come from Canada as well. So I think a lot of people that are arguing, they're pro-Trump. They're like, oh yeah, well, things are better. We're worse under the Biden administration and blah, blah, blah. And Canada doesn't have as much buying power. It's like, do your freaking research. At least, hell, I'm not much of a researcher myself. And it doesn't take much. Like, I just look online a little bit and I'm finding stuff that's arguing against what these people that are pro-Trump, like, oh, he's going to fix everything. Things are going to get so much better. Eggs are going to get cheaper. Groceries are going to get cheaper. It's like a lot of them are just spouting things that they've heard Trump or Musk or whatever, or other Republicans or MAGA or whatever, just that they've heard them actually like spout online. It's like, guys, really, like, just look it up, just search at all. Like there's videos on TikTok, there's videos on YouTube, there's news articles, there's a lot of stuff out there talking about all the really bad stuff that's going on right now. And I think when somebody says that's fake news, they're just not interested in knowing the truth at all. Like they just, it's easy to say, well, that's fake news. Okay, that's Trump term. Yeah, there's fake news out there, but a lot of people are like, oh, just Democrats are just like, they're crybabies. They don't want to. They're crying that they lost. No. And I'm not saying all people that voted for Trump, want the worst for this country or that they're bad, because it's not the case. I know there's good Republicans, just like there's good Democrats. Like not all Democrats are extreme left. It's like not all Republicans are extreme right. The problem is that a lot of them will basically assume that either side is extreme one direction or the other, when we really got to focus on like, all right, like what's actually happening, like what is actually being done. Like I saw a video, and I apologize, guys. Like I know normally for this podcast, I know that I typically, one of my what I try to do is I try not to talk politics, religion, whatever, because very, very sensitive topics. But sometimes I guess you have to. So I apologize if it turns you off, but we got basically like, we can't just, as much as some of us would like to, like hell I'd like to, but we can't just bury our heads in the sand and just say it's not happening, it's fake news, blah blah blah, whatever. Because there's a very scary and very real chance that we could go 4 years with whatever they're going to destroy if he doesn't get impeached again, or if nobody stands up to him, and then they pass something in there, or pass some measure through Congress or whatever, allowing Trump to serve another 4 years, or God forbid, and after 4 years, we no longer have a president, but we have a king, we have a monarchy, and it's the Trump family is our royal monarch, like Trump king for a while, and then his son becoming king after him, and it's like instead of having the actual democracy like we have had up to this point, and yeah, have things been perfect? No, but like it should be, and that it should be about the people. It's kind of why we, when we were ruled by England for a while, and then we had the Revolutionary Wars, because like we didn't want taxation without representation. We didn't want the people to not have a voice. Whereas like now it's like the current administration, it kind of seems like they want to have absolute power. They want to be able to make the rich richer, and I'm not planning to leave. Like my wife and my mother-in-law, they've talked about like, oh, we got to have our passports in order and stuff like that, which makes sense, and I'm kind of looking into that. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but if we only have 4 years with the current administration, then yeah, things are gonna suck for 4 years. But part of what I was saying earlier was, I know it takes a couple years usually for laws that are passed to take effect, and then like the next presidency gets blamed because, oh, things were really bad during Biden. Well, that was actually enacted during Trump. But with everything, all the executive orders and stuff like that have been enacted recently, I told the wife, I said, hopefully the stuff that they're passing through will take effect really quick, so Trump will get credit for what Trump's doing. So that it won't be, hey, they're passing stuff through right now, and in a couple of years it'll take effect, and then whoever is the next president, they'll get blamed for it. And then, we'll do another swap. Like we'll go blue in 4 years, and then we'll go red again, because the next president will get blamed for what Trump's currently enacting. But if he pushes things through right now and things get really bad right now, maybe he'll actually get credit for the things that he's doing, But the whole fake news thing, though, it's interesting. It's basically like, I know, yeah, there's fake news out there, but there's a lot of people that'll just spout, oh, it's fake news. That's not real. Like, well, whatever. They just don't want to. They're happy, basically proclaiming, screaming from the rooftops, my wallet was fatter under Trump. Things are better under Trump. It's like, yeah, that was not Trump. That was Obama. But, well, that's why I said, as a country, that's why I'm not blaming any one side, Republican, Democrat, whoever voted for whoever. I'm saying as a country, because he won the popular vote, all we can do is wait, watch, and see what happens. And we're already seeing some big stuff. So it's like, none of it's fake. When you see these TikTok videos and news articles online about what Musk is being allowed to do, and things are taking effect now, it's like none of it's fake. Like, it's, there's a lot of real stuff that's happening, and people are like, oh, you got to get your passport in order. And I'm like, yeah, but I wouldn't want to necessarily go to another country and start over. Because I'm like, maybe if this only lasts 4 years, maybe we'd have blue take over again, or whoever, maybe it could be a Republican that takes over after Trump, and is able to turn around and start trying to fix the things that were broken right now, things that were destroyed right now, to actually start trying to care about the people again. Because, I'm not saying that rich need to give up all their wealth, but I'm saying that, that it shouldn't be, hey, let's make the rich richer, the poor poorer, and let's, have rich buddies and blah, blah, blah. It's like, come on, guys, like, it's a country, by the people, for the people. It's like, there's another thing too that I thought, when people are like, yeah, that like senators have to stand up, blah blah blah, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but hopefully we'd have people either in Congress or in the Senate. And I said, I asked somebody earlier, I said, do you think if things got really bad that we'd have any parts of the military ranks that would actually, because I know that we're like the way that the government was set up with the military and stuff like that was like, it's like the right to bear arms, for people to protect themselves, even from a government that we're actually oppressing. My wife's like, yeah, but the military, their commander in chief is the president. I'm like, yeah, but they're also told in the military that if your commander, yes, the president's commander in chief, but like the military, for the regular commanders, they're told that if they're given an order that is unlawful, it is their duty to disobey. So it's like, I would think that would be the same with their commander in chief. If they're getting, orders that technically aren't lawful, that are unjust, whatever, that I would think that hopefully somebody would stand up. But that's why the topic tonight with the fake news, I'm like, I just find it interesting. It's like, do you really? I mean, obviously, it sounds like he was joking, that he didn't really think that what my mother-in-law was talking about was actually fake news. But I guess she's not gonna probably say anything else in that chat. So I kind of, because I'm a kind of similar sense of humor like my brother-in-law. So basically, I came in there and said, "Long live the king!" But then my next message was, "I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Hey, Katie, Kyle, love you." And they're like, "LOL, hey, bro, love you too." Because I was like, I had to put just kidding in there because it wasn't like, But that's part of my worry with Trump was I was like, yeah, but within the next 4 years, maybe it won't be President Trump, maybe it'll be King Trump, And my buddy Dave was like, yeah, but there's a lot of checks and balances in there to prevent that from happening. And I told that to my wife, and she goes, yeah, but he's literally dismantling all the checks and balances right now. He's tearing them all apart to consolidate more power, which is what, like, Harris, when she was campaigning for the presidency, that's what she was saying. Like, he wants absolute power. He's trying to consolidate power, and people are like, oh yeah, well, like, we think this about Harris, and like, Trump's gonna make America great again. It's like, so it's like, all right. So, but anyway, y'all, I think I've rambled on long enough. I apologize if this kind of rubs some of y'all the wrong way. That wasn't my intent. It was kind of, like I said, like, this is, how this is, guys. Every Tuesday, it's Real Talk Tuesday, and basically, I'm just not gonna. I keep it real with you guys. I'm not gonna lie to you, not gonna BS you, and I usually will try to come up with whatever topic I'm inspired to talk about that night. But if you're like our family, like me, my wife, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, others that are worried about the future with what's currently going on, I don't know if running away and going to other countries is what we gotta do, unless, like I said, if Trump becomes king and we have to deal with what we're currently dealing with, like, we backpedal 50 years, and that's just what America becomes for the foreseeable future, that maybe relocating to other countries might be the best bet. But right now, while we still have a democracy, if you're worried about it at all, I would highly recommend going to, like, your, like, sending letters to, like, your senators and Congress and stuff like that, because we need people that are worried, especially in government, to actually stand up and fight. Even though, yeah, Trump could then pull strings and get people fired, or kick them out of their posts, but it's like you gotta have people that care, that actually try to stand up, to try to, and if they get kicked out, hey, there's social media platforms they can. There's a so to kind of close this episode out tonight, there's a podcast called, I believe it's called Whistleblower, I think. And the funny thing is, I don't know of any other podcast about presidential administration, but the Whistleblower podcast is literally about the Trump administration during his first term. People that got ousted, people that basically got blacklisted because of them speaking out against Trump, saying that this is wrong, this is not what we should do, and basically Trump got him terminated, and people gave him death threats and stuff like that. It's like, I understand you're supportive of a certain, you're supportive of a person that's in office. I was gonna say a candidate, but he's not a candidate, he's in office. But it's like, you're supportive of him, I get it, but Um, we got to be open to the other news as well, like the other, like, be open to the facts, not just he's gonna make it great again. Oh my god, is he though? Like, our country being, you know, going back to being like, I mean, we have racist people out there anyway, but we should be focusing on how can we help everybody. Like, how can we make, like, our country really being great would be us trying to, you know, do what we can to make sure that everybody has a fair chance. And yeah, do we have people that are here illegally? Of course. But do we have people that, you know, immigrants that are actually doing what's right, that they should do? Of course, absolutely. You know, they're going through the process. They've got the green cards. They're working on becoming citizens. Or hell, we got people that, you know, were born here. The key from immigrants, but they were born here, so they got citizenship that Trump is trying to take away. And it's like, but that doesn't make sense because they were born here, and in the Constitution, it literally talks about, like, I believe. Well, I mean, okay, I'm not gonna say that because I don't, but I know that from what I know about American citizenship is, as long as you're born here, you're a citizen. You are legally an American citizen. And that's one of the things I heard that Trump's trying to take away. Is like, what? So he's trying to just kick people out that are actual legit American citizens? Like, that doesn't make sense. So I've heard people argue in the past that there's people that are worried that eventually our country will no longer be majority white, that the minorities will actually be the dominant, you know, will be the ones that dominate America and stuff. Like, we'll have more, you know, Hispanic and black and whatever. It's like, I don't see a problem with that at all, but obviously there's people that, like, oh, we're, you know, we're a white country, blah blah blah. It's like, no, we really aren't. Like, we were initially, unless you're like Native American, then we're all immigrants, you know. I have Native American in me a little bit. Like, my great uncle, I think it was great uncle or great great uncle, I don't know. But I have I'm going to say great uncle. So I have a great uncle that was literally a Cherokee Indian chief. When I was really young, he was up there in age, and I remember getting little gift packs from him. And it was funny because we had, like, these bear claw necklaces that were fake, you know, like the fake plastic claws. And of course, I kind of jokingly was like, yeah, but those aren't real bear claws. But it was like, you know, I understood why they weren't, you know, not going out and killing bears and making bear claw necklaces. But so I've technically got American Indian in me, but unless you're a you know, descendant of Native American, then we're all immigrants. So it's like, who's to say, like, white are the, you know, we're the ones, like, whites are the ones that deserve to be here the most, and everybody else got kicked out, or, you know, and another thing too is, like, they talk like they want to kick out all the, you know, if you're Hispanic or Mexican or whatever, you know, they want to kick them all out. It's like, yeah, but there's jobs that immigrants do that other people do not want to do, and yet they're talking like, well, you're from Mexico, and like, companies have shut down recently. I've heard that, you know, had people that they were legal, but they were immigrants, but like ICE raided them or whatever, and yet those jobs that technically are vital to, you know, the vital services the country needs done, but yet nobody that was voting for those people getting kicked out, nobody's swooping in to take over those jobs. They, you know, because they don't want to do the jobs, but they just don't want the jobs they were saying that people were, quote, stealing. So it's like, it's interesting, but, you know, it's just, so I'm just shaking my head right now because I'm like, yeah, you know, it's like, I find it interesting when you hear people talk about, like, oh, it's fake news, that's not real, you know, make America great again, blah blah blah. My wife's friend Rob, I guess sounds like he's one of those that actually, like, doesn't want to hear what's going on and stuff. He's like, like my wife's like, so did you hear? Like, are you aware that such that's happening? That he's doing this or whatever? And he's like, what? Nah, it's not true. And she's like, Rob, like, she'll send him an article and be like, well, shit. Like, I had no idea. Like, yeah, if you just, like I said, guys, it's like, it's not hard if you, like, don't just take what you're hearing from the administration at face value. I actually go and, like, hell, look on TikTok, do a Google search. Like, hell, I have articles that come up when I open my browser, my phone. I don't even have to search for it. I'll just see articles pop up about, like, this is happening, that's happening, this is being dismantled. Like, people are worried over here. There's news articles out there, and you don't really even have to, like, specifically search for them to find them. So anyway, guys, again, apologies for this little bit of a political political episode tonight. But yeah, I was thinking about it and was like, yeah, this is probably somewhat important to talk about. So again, hope everybody's doing well this week. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Anybody that would be open to or interested in or willing to support the podcast, go to blodgetshow.com/support. You know what I say, guys? Keep pushing forward. Keep believing. Believe you can. Believe you will. And you're already halfway there. And then you just have to go out there and do it. But don't just take what you hear at face value, guys. Actually go and do the research. Go and watch videos online. There's YouTube videos about what's going on. YouTube and TikTok videos talking about what's being dismantled, destroyed, blah, blah, and it's all in an effort to do. That's why, like, I think I heard that the extremely high number of executive orders was basically, it's a tactic to basically, like, overwhelm American public. So they, it takes time for them to kind of, like, try to validate or verify whatever's being done. And so by the time they do it, things have already been basically dismantled, and actions have already been taken, and they can't change it at that point because it took them a long time to try to verify the information in the executive orders and whatnot. But it's not hard, guys. Just this literally Google stuff, TikTok. Look up your TikTok videos. Just research, and if you're like us, like me, my wife, my in-laws, my immediate family, like my parents, I'm sure I haven't talked to them in a minute, but I don't think they were really Trump supporters either. They were kind of worried about what's going on. Reach out to your representatives, your state get a little tongue-tied, state representatives, and express your concerns. Basically, the only way that things can basically be fixed or go down the right path would be if people that don't agree with all the massive changes that are happening, if they stand up, and even though they might be afraid of their current positions being at risk, but they got to stand up, they got to do what they got to do and fight for what they believe in, instead of just lay down and roll over and take it. It's like, so, but anyway, guys, we only fail if we quit, give up, and walk away. So as long as we keep getting back up and continuing to work towards and fight for the things that we believe in, then we've never failed. So, but on that note, I hope everybody has a great rest of your week. I appreciate you guys. Keep doing what you gotta do. And as always, I will talk to you guys on the next episode. Have a good one.